It's all right, guys. Mitchell dropped his voice to a soothing lull. He had done it many times while holding the dying in his arms, precisely why he'd vowed not to get attached to another person. It was easier to let go that way. I promise, your mama's fine. Their worried looks didn't ease. She just fainted. Guess seeing someone that looked exactly like your dead husband did that to a woman. But Lorenda had been the only person outside of their mom who didn't have to ask which Lawson twin was which. She could tell Cameron and Mitchell apart way back when she was a scrawny kid with pigtails, and Mitchell and Cameron thought girls had cooties. Marry the girl who can tell you apart. That's what their mom had told them. So when Lorenda grew into a pretty young teenager, Cameron had fallen hard, and eventually married her, smart guy that he was. It hadn't occurred to Mitchell that Lorenda might need a little warning before he showed up in the flesh. He turned his stare to the flashing lights of the sheriff's car. His father put his hand on the mugger's head and guided him into the back seat. Then his dad opened the driver's door and got on the radio to call it in, no doubt. A short guy stepped forward with a slight spare tire around his middle and a hairline that had started to recede. I can take her. He looked vaguely familiar. And you are? Instinctively, Mitchell's grip tightened around Lorenda. Bart. Small, balding guy's tone was clipped, like he was miffed. Bart Wilkinson. We went to school together. All of our lives. Oh, yeah. An odd little guy with a doting mother who cut his meat for him until he was 16. Because kids could be mean, he'd been nicknamed Bart the Fart, after an untimely sneezing attack in the midst of a full lunchtime crowd on Pinto Bean Day. Lorenda, always the nice girl, had shown him compassion and stood up for him when the other kids called him Bart the Fart. And if Mitchell remembered correctly, Bart had had a crush on Lorenda ever since. Thanks, but I've got her, Mitchell said. Bart's eyes launched grenades at him. Mitchell looked down at Lorenda. Her head leaned to the side and long flowing blonde hair fell across her cheek. He smoothed it back. Sunlight filtered through the rustling leaves of a large cottonwood and splayed across her smooth skin, which had turned a light bronze from the sun. Full pink lips, a tiny Marilyn Monroe mole just above her mouth. Her subtle perfume drifted up, just as soft and feminine as her. It was probably inappropriate, but a sense of protectiveness that bordered on possessive jolted through him. Because Mitchell knew what a crummy deal Lorenda and the boys had gotten from his brother. He gathered her closer. She was so soft, her face so pretty. More mature than the last time he'd seen her 6 years ago at Cameron's funeral. Then again, he hadn't stuck around long enough to form an opinion on whether or not Lorenda still looked like the young, pretty girl he'd grown up with, or the attractive young woman his brother married. Getting out of town had been his first priority since his father blamed him for Cameron's death. Mitchell was used to taking the blame. Dad had known that Mitchell's hell-raising had started the fire the night he and Cameron graduated from high school, just like Dad knew that Mitchell had persuaded Cameron to follow him into the military. The truth didn't matter. Never had. And why should Mitchell have to convince his dad of anything? Wasn't a father supposed to love his kids unconditionally? He studied his nephews while Lorenda's slow and steady breaths ebbed and flowed. There was way more at stake now than just making amends. Telling the truth to clear his name would mean hurting 2 innocent little boys. He glanced in his father's direction. It might also mean causing the old man to keel over, which would destroy his mother. So he'd have to find another way. The crowd around them kept thickening, the rummage sale and pet adoption obviously on pause. Paramedics are on the way, someone in the crowd shouted. Thank God. At least one person in the crowd was thinking of Lorenda's well-being instead of trying to mow him down with dirty looks. Traditional values and old grudges ran deep in a town as small as Red River. You want to take her hand, Trevor, Mrs. Brooks said to the younger boy. Maybe if she feels your presence, she'll wake up quicker. Trevor took a doubtful step forward and knelt next to his mom. This is your